Thank you for viewing this RFID Community Connect video from AIM. AIM is an industry association for automatic identification technologies. So not only RFID, but barcoding, IoT, or any other technologies that automatically identify and capture data. If you want to learn more about AIM, go to aimglobal.org or reach out to us to set up a one-on-one call where we can tell you a little bit more about how AIM can benefit your business. I'm pleased to be joined by John Fitzsimmons, Business Development Director at Metalcraft. John, welcome.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the time and thanks for the invitation. There's a lot of expertise out here on this whole panel, and it's really great to see the AIDC industry really looking to help people understand the technology and how it affects these businesses. So, as Mike said, my name is John Fitzsimmons. I'm our business development director here at Metalcraft, and today we'll be discussing RFID on metal within machine shop environments in that manufacturing environment. So, Mike, if you could go to the next slide. We'll be going over, the adoption for the RFID technology within these machine shops and the manufacturing environments, as well as why these machine shops are looking to adopt that technology, the benefits that the RFID technology and those tags hold over some of the barcodes or the other forms of manual tracking. And then kind of to wrap it all up, there's about 4 case studies that I'll be discussing with you all, just showing you some of those real world areas where people applied this technology and how it affected and streamlined their businesses. Go to the next slide, please. So within the manufacturing environment, I guess there's a brief overview of these industrial tracking challenges. So within these manufacturing environments, typically we'll find that there's a lot of high metal intense environments that tend to interfere with your traditional RF technology. And then I guess as you'll hear today in a lot of these real world examples, there's barcoding and that requirement for the line of sight tracking, up close tracking, a lot of manual labor poured into these different forms of tracking that businesses have, and then the steps they're trying to take to streamline that and improve the efficiency. So again, some pain points you'll hear are the lost or misplaced assets that these businesses had, as well as the manual scanning errors, the human dependencies, and the lack of that real-time visibility. And then to solve some of these issues, as you'll hear, is the on-metal RFID tags, where they require a durable and automated line of sight tracking. So, Mike, if you can go to the next slide. Why would a business choose an on-metal RFID tag over just a standard, maybe it's a paper label or a polyester label? And that's a question we get asked a lot here at Metalcraft. It's kind of in our name. That metal is definitely something people ask a lot about. But the reason that a company would want to adopt this type of tag has to do with a lot with the conditions that they're facing. Some of those harsh environments, like you'll see the high heat environments, maybe a paint cycle or the wash cycles, or just the typical industrial wear and tear that some of these tags will experience within the manufacturing environment. So again, with the tag itself, they're looking for a tag that will work directly on those metal surfaces. Sometimes a longer read range is desired, probably as well. The no line of sight is definitely a bonus when we're working with high volumes and that constant stream of production. And then also to think about is the bulk automated readings as opposed to one by one tracking different parts or assets. So enabling that real-time data capture is important, and increasing the process of automation and that life cycle tracking. So we'll begin now to talk a little bit about these case studies, and a couple of them, we're going to be able to share the names of the actual businesses that adopted this technology, but some of them, for the confidentiality of the customer, we're asked not to share the names. But for this first one, it's a work in process tracking request that we got for a steel door manufacturer. And some of the problems that this manufacturer was facing is that they In their process of production, there were steel doors being misplaced or even shipped to the wrong customer location. The barcodes, that base of tracking, relied very heavily on the labor of each individual employee manually tracking and scanning with the barcode one by one all of these doors in their production process. That tended to have an effect on the production visibility, and it caused some gaps in that production process that resulted in a lot of costly errors, including lost assets, reworks, replacement orders, and rush shipments that really put a crink on their production process and really put some stress on that business. So the other aspect that we always want to be conscious of going into a unique application like this is that environment that the tags are exposed to. And with this particular environment included the high heat, again, the paint processes that these doors went through, as well as the heavy metal surfaces that created a lot of durability challenges that some of the tags they were using weren't really holding up to. Go ahead, Mike. So one of the solutions that we offered them after analyzing this environment, all those harsh conditions, we came up with a on-site printable version of a mount on metal tag that we added a specialized paint mask protection, and that allowed these tags to survive the painting and the production process there, as well as those high heat and other straining factors that were causing some of these other tracking methods to fail. By implementing these tags, we helped implement the automated RFID tracking system throughout their whole manufacturing, as well as the shipping operations, enabling them to have that hands-free identification without requiring those employees to scan each item individually, one by one, manually. So, next slide, please. As a result, this system has been in place for nearly a decade for this business. We've helped eliminate the lost and misplaced doors within their production. We improved the shipping and the order accuracy, making it so they didn't have to go through all those reorders, the rush production, the rush shipment to fill in for those lost assets by simply applying this tag that's specialized for their unique application. We also helped reduce the labor that was spent searching for that missing inventory and those work in process items. So all that labor that was put into looking for these assets, trying to find each and every one of these doors, that was able to be reallocated to other areas of the business where they could more efficiently use that labor. So we can go on to the next case study. Very similar high metal environment. This one also, we won't be able to share the name of the customer, but it's a metal components manufacturer, and they were needing to track their metal components from the point of the raw materials all the way through the final installation of those components. They wanted to have automated real-time production data and collection, and really wanted to have more secure warranty validation in the field. And I guess, again, some of those harsh conditions, we always see the questions about why are our current processes not working. And we always ask about those harsh conditions and try to understand what is it that your assets are, what process are your assets going through, what environments are they exposed to, so we can create the tag that you need that will hold up to those conditions and really offering that expertise. So to this particular study, we had to survive through a wash process, again, the paint and oven curing process that these components were being exposed to, as well as other intensive conditions out in the field where their standard tags were beginning to fail. So next slide, please. So a solution, again, as these parts are, they're needing to track these parts as they go. We offered them an on-site printable version of a mount-on metal tag, developing a 2-ply paint mask to survive the paint and oven curing process, and allowing them to print these tags as they needed them, as opposed to giving maybe a pre-printed tag. There is an advantage for some of these work in process to print these themselves as they go. But this was a good solution for the problems they were facing, to have that tag that would survive those high heat and wash conditions, and last from one end of the raw materials all the way through like the implementation of those parts. Slide, please. And as a result, we were able to reduce that manual calibration that the customer was facing, and going from 5 minutes per part to 5 seconds per part, validating what it is and where it came from, improving that visibility into the quality and the assembly data. The system was scaled for a projected production of 360,000 units annually, so you can really get an idea of the time savings using the RFID technology versus the other methods they were using to track these parts. And at that volume, the amount of time and ability to reallocate that labor and all of that work to other areas that would benefit the business. And again, offering that rugged on metal RFID tag really requires that we understand exactly what this customer's pain points are with the current tracking and how to alleviate those pain points. So I guess we'll go to the next case study. And this one is another very unique one. We can mention it's Valley Chrome Plating. This is a company that produces 300 or more chrome plated truck parts per day. You can kind of see in the picture there, like the fenders or different parts that go on a truck. They were using handheld barcode scanning, and it became unreliable just due to that human dependency. It took a lot of time. The employees either forgot to scan the parts or missed scans going in one by one, scanning each and every part or missing that, which it created a significant labor expense, locating those missing parts. So it really looking to streamline their business, they began looking at the RFID technology as opposed to the barcode technology. They needed the solution that could perform reliably in their metal manufacturing environment. Next slide, please. So we offered them, after getting into their facility and understanding a lot more about their process, we did offer them a smaller mount on metal RFID tag to fit some of the restrictions and size restrictions they had been asking about. We added the fixed RFID readers throughout their production process, and we helped eliminate that dependency on the handheld barcode scanning. Next slide, please. As a result, again, that labor, I think you keep hearing the same theme throughout all of these studies, is that there's a lot of labor being put into manually tracking each and every one of these assets in the different production processes. And by reducing that labor and that dependency on the human and removing that human error, we're able to help streamline the production process, improving that efficiency and the workflow consistency. We helped increase their visibility into the manufacturing process, and we allowed those employees to work on those higher value work that they could put into other areas of the company. And then we have one more case study, and this one is for Dirksen Portable Buildings. This one is for inventory tracking and NFC automation. So this one was a unique one, and you'll see why when we show you the tag. The requirements for the tag, but the manual and serial number entry, the challenges they were facing was the manual serial number entry, the increased risk of transposed numbers. So the QR codes were improving accuracy, but still required some scanning interaction. Again, that need to go in individually and scan those QR codes was putting a time constraint on this business. And they were requiring a durable RFID solution for both on metal as well as on wood. And the buildings were exposed to those harsher outdoor conditions for longer periods of time. So really, we had kind of a tall order up here against us. But again, the point of all of this is to help the customer address the pain points they're facing and help them understand, what is the direction you need to go? What tag do you need to go? And what system will work with that tag? And again, the icing on the cake was wanting to combine the branding with the serialized inventory tracking into one tag. So if you'll go to the next slide, you'll be able to see on the right there, I guess, the branding that they were looking for and combining that into the RFID tag, the NFC RFID tag, metal mount tag that they're looking for, combining that all into one tag. We designed to work with both the metal and the wood surfaces. Again, we put that weather resistant construction for that long term outdoor durability and combined the branding with the technology to give them a tag that accomplished all of the requirements they were looking to achieve. Next slide, please. So as a result, they were able to achieve faster inventory tracking. They improved their inventory accuracy and their building visibility. They reduced the risk of shipping to the wrong building to the wrong location. That's a lot of work put into getting those buildings moved around. And they streamlined the delivery and inventory process, opening that door for again, taking this technology and being ready for the next step, their next step into the future for e-commerce and integration on that side of it as well. So I guess with all of these studies in mind, the common theme that we see, especially in manufacturing and especially with the need for a specialized durable on metal tag, is that these businesses are discovering that they are making the right steps, and it is a step-by-step process adopting the different tracking methods, and going from, we've seen all the way from manually painting on like the name or whatever the number is of that asset to then begin barcoding and begin to adopt that technology. And I think as a step-by-step process, we begin to show the ROI that you can gain by adopting that next step with the RFID technology where it makes sense. But for that, it requires that we as the AIDC industry really explain why is like your current tracking methods not working maybe to the fullest of efficiency that you're looking to achieve, and how can RFID on our side begin to streamline that. And by showing some of these cases, you see that there's a lot of human error involved, there's a lot of manual tracking involved, and the purpose of the RFID tags is to help alleviate some of those pains by allowing you to track in bulk without needing that direct line of sight, and being able to streamline some of those time constraints and showing that is the ROI, is your time saved by not looking around your whole facility trying to find each and every individual asset or part, as well as allowing your workers to go and put their labor towards maybe a more important task than running around a lot or running around a distribution center or a manufacturing facility. So through all of this, the whole point is to aid the customer and aid those people looking to make that next step, and really offering that guidance in our industry here. So I hope I was able to leave a little bit of time. I see there's some questions in the chat, but with if you have questions about the case studies or anything else that you think we can help address, you can reach me. You see my contact there, and yeah, Mike, if you have any questions you want to go over, I hope I didn't take too much time.
No, we're good here. We'll just go over a couple questions. And again, I'll send those over to you to answer offline as well, the ones we don't address here. But
Perfect.
Again, great presentation, John. Very insightful. I'm going to actually go back a couple slides here. If you could potentially just talk to a little bit about, like, with the Dirksen logo that you put here, what type of considerations you have to do to implement something like this, like with the logos and putting them onto the tag.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen this on a couple different cases where a customer doesn't necessarily want to add another tag. They don't want to add too many steps in the process. So by looking at their logo, they may already have a tag in place, or they don't want to order six different labels to put onto their asset. So we consider what is the material that we're applying a tag to. How can we provide do we need to do a full color logo for you? Do you need a custom size? We work through all these things with the customer to see exactly what they're looking to achieve. Again, the functionality of that, combining that with the marketing, as you can see here, that allows them to, I think aesthetic is a big part of that. It allows them to not have a bunch of different labels on their assets, especially with this particular case being a large portable building. It really made sense for them to try and combine it into one tag, and uh, good enough, we were able to help them achieve that.
Great, and I did stop sharing my screen here for a second because I couldn't access one of the questions here. What is the max temperature your high heat tags will support?
Absolutely. We've seen temperatures. It depends on what is causing that high heat. We mentioned like the paint cycles, the wash cycles. Typically, those wash cycles are a lot of those high heat environments that we see. But also just within the manufacturing, you can see those high heat environments. I've seen all the way up to like 200 degrees Celsius. So those can be on the higher end, but definitely finding materials that survive through those processes are what we try to specialize at.
Great, and then another question, somewhat similar. What is the smallest items that the tags can be applied to for accurate scanning?
Sure. I mean, it depends on the tag size or like what they're trying. I mean, we can track everything down to um, I guess you're thinking about different parts. I'm thinking about the components case study, and a different part will require a different type of tag size. And we can work with that. It's all dependent on the size of that part. We if you think about like a wrench or a tool like that, you can put a mount on metal tag that's maybe 3/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. Or you might want to look at that Dirksen tag, which could be anywhere around a 4x2 inch. So it really depends on the size of the component, but finding a size that works for the customer is what we're trying to do.
Great. Well, John, thank you again for your time and really appreciate the presentation.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.